So, today's What If is going to be concerning the idea of Captain America. What about Captain America? What if he was never frozen and basically survived, essentially, the encounter with Red Skull? I say survived, but you know what I mean. Like, never got frozen, because technically he did die in a way, but not, like, really. Not until Endgame, when we know he became an old man and everything else. But anyway, we're going to discuss the idea of him never getting frozen. Basically, him getting out of the wreckage of the ship, or just finding a way to survive after the fight with Red Skull. Something akin to that. First and most obviously, he would actually get his date with Peggy, and they would probably end up getting married at some point, one way or another. Bucky still did fall, so that's inevitable. But anyway, moving on. We'll discuss Bucky in a little bit here. Also, if he had never gotten frozen, I bet that he would want to, like, get other soldiers the formula, like, weaponize the formula. Not truly, like, weaponize the formula, but he would want to, like, copy, so to speak, the formula. Soldiers in the army and stuff, just so that way S.H.I.E.L.D. would be more operative and a lot more stronger people and stuff like that. Now, for Zola, he wouldn't have wanted him to be brought into S.H.I.E.L.D. any way, shape, or form. So Hydra would remain a covert organization, basically in pieces, with their leader dead. Moving on to the topic of Bucky, since, like I said, he did still fall off the bridge, because this was the time of Captain America in, like, his prime. This was him, like, everything pretty much went down per normal. We're starting the story after the fight with Red Skull, so nothing differentiates there. But since this is like a way earlier time period, 70 years in fact, basically Captain America would be able to find Bucky probably way sooner and reverse his brainwashing. And it might actually almost be easier, because, like, they've seen each other, like, way too recently. The brainwashing that had been put on Bucky probably wouldn't be, like, that strong or anything, and probably be easily broken, so Bucky would be part of the team. Tony would be basically growing up hating Steve, because he would be in Steve's shadow, whereas Steve, whenever he got frozen, he was in 70 years and basically just came out then, and it wasn't... They had their differences, especially in Civil War, but it wouldn't be as big as in this particular time, where Tony basically just hates him, despises him with an utter dread. Now, like I said before, if this were the case, Captain America were around, Steve Rogers, what have you, S.H.I.E.L.D. would be way better and more moral with him leading the way and not getting frozen. Now, by the time the movies come around, like the main ones after the Captain America introduction and everything else, Steve would be an old man by this point. He'd be an old retired man, and Bucky too, with actually him being able to stay with Peggy in her final days, just like he wanted. And also the cool thing for them is they might even have kids and stuff. That would be fun, and Steve and Bucky would grow old together along with Peggy, and everything would go good. Now, for, like, main events and stuff after this, what happens next? Well, or something, Bucky would have no fight, any of that. He would basically stay on Asgard, and so that way Odin wouldn't have to see Odin die, and Loki would still be like drifting around in space. Also, might become a problem later, maybe, but Hela isn't freed yet. And even so, I think Thor would I think everything would go all right. Now for Thanos, his plan would take so much longer at this rate. So, it would only take the efforts of the full Asgard army, Captain Marvel, who would still be around, nothing really to differ there, and Xander, which would still be a frickin' thing, and Thanos would basically be done there and then. And honestly, guys, I think that's where the story would end. So, Captain America not getting frozen honestly has a positive outcome in this story, sort of like when Thor, if he had Stormbreaker against Hela, it wouldn't do too much at the long run, but it would save so many lives. And for this, there'd be so much more stronger operation for S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think that everything would work out in this story until the end. We still have all the Avengers, aside from America and Bucky and stuff. There would be like little to no catastrophes, so Spider-Man would still be around, Iron Man would still be around. Pretty much a lot of people would have survived, basically. Loki would still be in the middle of space, and yeah, that's honestly where the story would end. None of the other movies would change, or some of them might not even happen. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the story for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. What are your opinions? Do you think that something like this could have gone down? What do you think could have happened had Captain America not ever gotten frozen in the original MCU? Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and want to see more, and I will see you next time.